I bring to you today a story from Norway that I composed based on an anecdote that was told to me in one breath. I take this story to you without my fiddle, without an audience, without my props, without the kids to interact with me, gathering around a fire like they would have done in a small hut in Norway or out ice fishing. There was quite a buzz in the barn that night. There was neighing and mooing and braying and stewing, and Arne Terje Rantveit knew something wasn't right. Jeg vet at noe slett ikke rett. And so he set out through the still, wet air filled with an uneasy feeling. Was the mare in labor? Were the neighbor boys in there? Was somebody stealing? And when he flung open the door to the barn, he found flare-eye hung from the ceiling. The old cow was crying and swung like a bell, and the dung and the peelings were flying. Arno was queasy just from the smell, and untying her wouldn't be easy, of course, and then with frantic flailing, Flora then fell, sailing into the panicked horse. Nay! Moo! Spat! After that, Arne guarded the barn. The livestock suffered from shock. Arne Terje, he cared for Flora the cow, who was now too scared to produce. He slept on a hide and kept by her side, though his wife thought it was of no use. It was weeks at least he was tending his beasts, until they weren't sending him food anymore. Stop your brooding, or Dad, you will go right mad! And they shuffled him through the door. So Arne had to go in, and he stood by the window and stared. He was prepared for another alarm should it harm his grandfather's farm. One day, while Arne was gathering wood, a rather pale man concealed by his hood stood on the trail right before him. I come down from the hill to ask if you will for a compromise. Your fortune is failing. Fluta fjosi, min vän. Fluta fjosi, min vän. But Arne did not move the barn, no matter what fate the man spoke of. And late one night, there was quite a buzz in the Rantveit barn. There was banging and clanging and banging and clanging and banging and clanging, and Arne Terje Rantveit knew it wasn't right. Jeg vet at noe var slett ikke rett. And so he set out through the blowing snow, following the frightful sounds. And inside the barn, he found Flora was hanging even higher off the ground. The sheep were all tangled in deep heaps of hay. The pig's feet were bound by a root. Arne's boots had been stuffed with yesterday's scraps and perhaps a cow pie or two. Oh, why had this happened? What should he do? The poor old Flora is turning blue. The chickens are sick. The pig is delirious. This situation is serious. The mysterious man returned from the hill with a burning stick in his hand. Nei, Arne Terje. Your fortune is failing. Your farm is a mess. Du må fare hos meg for en fest. At the crest of the hill, the man moved a boulder just by nudging it with his shoulder. The dirt moved aside, Arne's eyes opened wide, and the pale man posed an invitation. Enter, if you will, to the center of the hill. Down he flew, faster than any steed he'd saddled. Down he sped, swifter than any boat he'd paddled, till he was lifted and led by a calloused hand, his ballast in this quicksand, and it led him down to a damp, dark cave with walls engraved around a pool of water. And in the reflection of the hooded host, Arne thought he caught a glimpse of his daughter's ghost. And it led him with a calloused hand would become his ballast in this other land. Through the heavy doors to a place like a palace. Through the heavy doors to a place like a palace. While Arna stood in the flood and the floors were mud, the space in the hill was filled with gold. There was glitter and jewels and old silver spoons. There were rings and bits of shiny things. The walls were all covered in mythical runes. The place was strewn with tools. There were spades in repair and broken blades, and Arna saw his missing broom in a room full of strange contraptions. There were beings by the hearth. They were part human, part earth, and they served him ale and herbal tea and danced to tunes and fancy steps that kept him in a trance. Then took him to a feast and brought him gourmet food. He took a bite, and then something rude flew right into his stew. He looked up. He heard a "oh," and knew that it was ew. And into his tea he was delivered a river of flower-eyes pea. The beasts then turned to Arna. Now are you concerned at least? We're sick of the sounds, we're sick of the smell, and we're telling you, sir, to poison your well. Some may call me an elf, and we're begging you, sir, keep your excrement to yourself. If you want to find out what happens next, please come and join us at the Heart and Hand Festival, a celebration of handwork and folk arts, here at the Joseph Schneider House, September 21st, 2013. We hope to see you there and have you part of our storytelling.